Thank you very much. It really is a privilege to be here. And I'm a little nervous being here, I have to tell you, because, I'm not the type of guy that really likes to go out and speak at events. My work speaks for itself in my films. And so I never really had the desire to be well known or famous or even get rich. I already have all of those things, but not in the world the way the world would see it, So there's a sense of peace in my heart, but at the same time, I have to tell you, I am a little bit nervous being here, and it's a privilege for me to be here. The film that you just saw, that's Outcasts, is not the people that I work with. The people that I work with made the film. So the stars in the film are the outcasts in society. Now, I like to do evangelization in my work. And Grassroots Films, in a lot of circles, is known as a Catholic film company. I have to tell you honestly, it was never my goal to be a Catholic film company, because the moment you say you're a Catholic film company, it's over. And the people that I'm trying to evangelize to will never watch it. A film that I did called The Human Experience is probably one of the most pro-life films you'll ever see, but never mentions the word abortion, never mentions the word pro-life, never even evades to being Catholic. But it is, and it's 100%. And intuitively, in your heart, regardless of what religion you are or what your beliefs are, you know that because you know the truth. We know the truth. And the truth is love. And so all of these films are based on Christ, the love of Christ. Not in the way you would expect to see a Catholic film, because when I see Christian films and I see the first 3 minutes of it, and I'm not trying to be a critic here, but my Brooklynese is going to come out. You know the ending of the film. These are all very nice people. I don't work with them. I know some of them, and they are very nice people. But I don't work with them. This is who I work with. You saw it in Outcasts. I also want to clarify one other thing, Brett, that you had mentioned, is that, that I work with underprivileged young people. Yes, that's true. But the poorest of the poor that come into the St. Francis home have no economic problems at all. They're very wealthy. We also have that segment as well. They're the most difficult to work with, I have to tell you, for a variety of reasons. But we love them the same as we love anyone else. I want to also, before I even go any further, is thank Catherine. Didn't she do a great job on that last talk? I mean, I don't know if she's here, but that was fantastic. It motivated me to change my talk around, to be very honest with you. The St. Francis home actually started back in 1967. Father Benedict Rochelle opened up the home because he was the chaplain at Children's Village in Dobbs Ferry, New York. And it was a place for young people who had no place to go. But two boys were going to be released. Back in 67, if you were 16 years old, you would be released from a place that you lived in, that you were awarded to the state. At 16, on your birthday, you're out. Put you right back on the street. He was very concerned about these two boys, Bobby and Jimmy. And he went into Greenpoint, Brooklyn, because that's where they were from. He was hoping that they would know some people there. They were just kids. And he finds this old, abandoned building called the St. Francis Club. Actually, that was a sign outside, and it was his birthday. He went across the street, spoke to the pastor, and the pastor said, "Benny, you don't want that house. It's in shambles." Father Benedict thought it was beautiful. He got the house. He opened up the home. Bobby and Jimmy moved in. They're married and have children. He saved their lives. And in 25 years of his career there had to be at least 300 young people that came through. There's some horror stories that came through as well, but some very good stories. He gave them a second chance. When I came on board in 1988, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I had a conversion experience. I thought I was going to go to a third world country, learn a new language, and help people. That's what was in my heart. And Father Benedict said, "I got this house in Brooklyn I want you to take a look at." I said, "Brooklyn? I'm not going to Brooklyn. Am I going to Brooklyn? No, not Brooklyn. The only people that didn't get to Long Island, where I was living a nice, comfortable life, were the cousins and the aunts who never made it to Long Island. They still lived in Brooklyn. I went there for the holidays, but boy, I never liked the place. It was scary. He takes me to the house, shows me the house, and honestly, I fell in love with it. And that was actually 27 years ago. Enjoy your life because it goes fast. And, I have to tell you honestly that they have taught me so much about life, young people. And they have also taught me about how I should live my life. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that happened in the house that I hope will bring us to a point that will help out in this conference. And I'm also going to show you another clip of one of the young boys who lived in the house. All the young men that come through the house have one thing in common. They don't have a father. We live in a fatherless society. Fatherless society. I speak to a lot of women who say that, I'm raising my son by myself, I'm the mother, and I'm the father. And I say, no, you're not the father. You're the mother doing the father's work, but you're not the father. You're the mother, and be his mother. Do not try to be his father. You cannot do that. You're not capable of it. You're as capable as that as I am capable as being his mother. Impossible. So all of these young men have this way about them that when they come through, they don't know who they are. They don't know where they came from. So obviously, they don't know where they're going. And they don't know God, which is the biggest problem in their life. The St. Francis house is a Christ-centered home. And if something goes wrong, and it does, you put 15 guys together or 7 guys together, an argument's going to break out eventually, And, something will happen on a Sunday, say, let's go, guys, we're going to Mass, we're going to get ready. And then, of course, there's always one guy in the group that says something like, look, I don't want to go to Mass. And I go, well, neither do I, but we're going to be late. So get dressed and go. This is not an option, This is not like, we're Catholic. This is what we do. This is what you do. If you want to live in my house, we go to Mass on Sunday, and everybody goes. And if you're sick, get out the thermometer. Oh, you want to go alone? No, we go together. We don't go alone, we go together. Because we're going to have a big breakfast after it. And if you don't go to Mass, you don't eat. Believe me, they won't starve. It's happened on a few occasions. You don't eat. There's rules. The guys love it. They love it. As a matter of fact, there's not one guy in our house who hasn't got a smack in the back of the head. That's an Italian love tap. You drop the F-bomb in my house, you're going to get it. And after you get smacked in the head, honestly, everyone has looked up and said, thank you, Joe. One guy said it didn't hurt. He got it again. True story. So part of this talk is recognizing talent in a young person. See, I truly believe in my heart that God gives everybody at least one talent. The boys that come to our home, as far as I'm concerned, have many talents. To recognize them is not too difficult. And in your own ministry, you should be able to recognize a talent in a particular person, because they tell you what it is. They can't wait to tell you what it is. A lot of times, I find myself being too busy to pay attention. Big mistake. Very big mistake. Because especially if you're talking to a young guy who has no father. Because he expects that. It's already into, oh, well, he's not going to listen to me. I'm no good. My father left. He may not be saying those words, but that's what's going on. Deep in their soul. Deep in their hearts. These young men, their hearts are broken. They're broken. And I can't fix them. I can be there for them. I can represent God in a lot of ways, which I do. Somebody will say something terrible. I say, hey, you can't say that in this house. You know who's running this house, right? Yes, Joe, you are. No, 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 no. God's running this house. I'm taking orders from him. You got nothing to say. And we stop it right there. Because God is running the house. And even though we've had other religions come through the house, I'm not trying to convert anybody, to be very honest with you. I'm just trying to love them with the love that God gave me to love them. And how do you do that? Well, there are some practical ways. And then, of course, there's always something that comes out of left field, you know. But teaching them the sacraments is extremely important to me. So if it's important to me, I'm assuming it must be important to them. And if they're not paying attention, it is important to me. And I respected you, and I expect you to respect me. Oh, and by the way, the air that you breathe in this house belongs to me. And the air is saying right now, you didn't make your first Holy Communion. If you don't want to be in this house, you're not a hostage. You don't have to be here. You have to want to learn to do this. You have to want to learn about God because he loves you. Now, part of the problem with that is that they don't know what that means. They don't have any concept of what that means. So, because I'm a film guy, I got a whole bunch of people together. Well, I do it every year. And for, just before, the Christmas thing came up, and I said to a couple of the boys, tell me something. What's the meaning of Christmas? Because we put up the Christmas tree, it looked great, everybody's happy. And I'm thinking to myself, do they know what's going on? Because it doesn't seem that way. What's the meaning of Christmas? Jose, what's the meaning of Christmas? The meaning of Christmas is when we give gifts to each other. I said, that's the meaning of Christmas? And he knew right there was the wrong answer. That's the meaning of Christmas. We give gifts to each other? Okay, that's what, yeah, we do that too, you know. JJ, what's the meaning of Christmas? JJ, I'm talking to you. Okay. If you don't know, say you don't know. Everybody doesn't know everything. He goes, I don't know. Good answer. I like that because you've got courage. You said you don't know because you don't know. Don't make anything up. Be a man. Stand up. Say, I don't know. And everybody was, well, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I said, well, I do. Who wants to know? Everybody raise your hand because you do want to know now. And when I explained the meaning of Christmas, they were shocked. Now, here's the shocking part. They were 18 years old. The youngest in the group was a cousin who was 16 years old. I said, okay, well, this is the meaning of Christmas, and we went on and on and on and on. So, of course, for Easter, I showed them the Passion of Christ. They cried at the end of it. They cried at the end of it. No one ever told them. You know, just like the people that you're working with, the popular, no one ever told them. Is it our responsibility? Absolutely, 100%. No question about it, or you wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here. So our responsibility as teachers, as mentors, as agents of God, apostles, pick one. We're all of those things. We've been called to this. I did not ask for the St. Francis home. I did not ask for Grassroots Films. But I'm here. Because God knew what was in my heart, and God knew that I wanted to serve. And in my prayer, I said, I will go any place you want me to go, and I will do anything that you want me to do. Of course, if I would have known it was Brooklyn, I would have probably made some kind of other deal. But I don't regret it for a second. Not for a second. You know. But who are we working with? Who are these people that we are ministering to? Now, the fact that I saw some statistics today is extremely helpful. I need to know these things because naturally I don't study them on my own. You know. But to come here and see that, it's tremendous. But there's another side of it. And the other side of it is, who is the person right in front of you that you're ministering to? Who is this person? Well, you know, this person that I'm dealing with, I know right off the bat, comes from a broken family. And this is where all the problems start. The broken family. We can't fix it. We can't fix it. But we can help, and we can be there. My mission is not just to help, young guys that need help and get them off the street, drug problem. All those things add up to only one thing. Am I helping this person get to heaven? Because that's the bottom line. And I'm a bottom line kind of guy. That's what we're really trying to do. The moment I forget that, my mission changes and I start doing things I want to do, or I think is a great idea, or this is absolutely necessary, when it's not. It might be necessary for me and my own needs or my own wants or my own ego to do these things. But the person in front of me is the person that God put there. And I have just become responsible for that soul. Now, people say all the time, even in the house, I even had a couple of times, Joe, did you just judge me? Absolutely. 100%. Well, you're not supposed to judge anybody. I said, well, who the heck told you that? In school. I said, tell your teacher I want to come to school and teach a class. I would love it. They'd probably throw me out. However, I said, no. I'm not judging whether you get into heaven or you get into hell or these things. No, what I'm judging, that's my moral compass. I said, you ever read the Bible? Because it says, discern everything. Everything. You come into the house, you don't trust me. Well, I don't trust you. Just that simple. You're in my house. You shouldn't trust me either. It's very important. I have to prove that to you. But you also have to prove it to me. We have to be on a even keel here where we can discuss humanity, where you're going in life. A lot of the young people that used to come into the house were involved in drugs and alcohol. I'm doing this 27 years. It's changed. Their parents were involved in drugs and alcohol and tattoos from the neck down and piercings in their face. They have a different addiction. It's a cell phone and it's video games. This is a very difficult thing. At our dinner table, and we eat dinner together every night. I believe that's what families are supposed to do. That's where it all happens. So we eat dinner every night. And if there's no place setting, because we have to set the table properly, and so there's no place setting for a cell phone. So when a new guy comes in, he puts his cell phone down. I'm like, what are you doing? And the other guys just can't wait for this to happen. And here I got a guy that's got an $800 cell phone calling in to see how much he's got left on his food stamps. There's something wrong with society, And so I think there's no place for the cell phone. Well, suppose somebody calls me. Well, they can wait, Well, suppose this happens, suppose that happens. I said, shut the phone off. Right now, we're going to have a conversation at the dinner table. Actually, you have to look into my eyes, And we weren't made to look at a screen to communicate. We weren't made that way. You can't see someone's heart. You can't really pick up an emotion. As a matter of fact, if you really want to make mistakes with people, just keep texting them back and forth. At the end of the day, confusion gets in there somehow, some way, And so, there's no cell phones at the dinner table. And they are off because they do buzz and whatever. I don't collect them and, make a big deal out of it. It's sort of like, no, this is how we live our life. It's kind of simple. No. See, a lot of parents, and especially single parents, they want to be friends with their children. The children don't want them to be friends. They already have friends, and you ain't it. Just that simple. We don't speak the same language anymore. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what did he just say? Like, I just didn't get it. I thought if you were dating a girl, you were dating a girl. I didn't know that you were just, now it's like, oh, I'm talking to her. Well, okay, so you're talking to her. No, I'm talking to her. I said, yeah, I heard you the first time. Oh, no, you don't get it. I get you talking to her. There's definitely a problem going on here, And I'm it. So, they don't want you to be friends. There's no way. So I'm very friendly to all the young guys and all the people that I work with, but I'm not your friend. It's not like we're going to go hang out tonight. If I take a group of people bowling, I don't even throw the bowling ball. Actually, I'm getting to the age where I don't want to throw the bowling ball because they're hip, And so, I'll drop them off and come back and get them or whatever. But it's a big mistake to be their friend. They want a mentor. They want someone they can look up to. They want someone to give them the right answers, even if they don't like the answer. They need that. And they want that. And it's become our responsibility as ministers to do that and to be very strong. To be very strong with them. Not to discourage anyone. They already are discouraged. They already come to you or they come to me with baggage and a lot of it. I always kind of feel like my job is to identify that baggage and just let them put that bag down for a little while and maybe just have some peace. It's not unusual that someone falls asleep at Mass. I've never gotten angry at anyone for falling asleep at Mass. But you got to read the gospel and tell me what it was about. I'll make the compromise. But I'm not teaching laziness or stupidity. I won't tolerate it because I love them. And I feel I have a responsibility to do that. There are many times when there's a disagreement going on with the young people. And I will say, I would be doing you a tremendous disservice if I allowed this to happen. No. No. And they accept that because they know I'm coming from a place of being positive, not negative. I'm going to run a clip here. Can I run the clip on the human experience of Jeffrey? Let me run this clip and I'll give you an idea of this young man represents, when I made this film, he represents young people who are suffering either from being from a broken home or not having a dad in their life.
No gray hair. How old are you, Dad?
Me? I got over here.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I don't use nothing.
Wow.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years, my little Jeff. El booga booga.
Oh, man.
What do you do now?
I work at a restaurant right over here. It's called Netro's. And just living life. I miss you, Dad.
Little baby. So how when you suffer with this family, you know, you see the song for another way,
What do you mean?
you know, not live it together. So hard.
I I still love you, you know? And
I know. It's all right, my son. Feel my stomach going away. I never forgot you. Never. You know how much I love you, right?
yeah.
I do the best I can, but that's a part of the life. So to be happy, you see, I married when your mother, how long? 21, 22 years ago? I mean, for 20 years.
No, I mean, Dad, I forgive you, you know?
Thank you, my son.
What's the life?
It's about the human experience.
Oh,
And it's about the beauty of life, like all the good things in life. No matter what you went through, no matter what happened, you know, no matter what happens in life, like, life is still good. Life is a gift.
my little Jeff.
I wanted to bring you that scene because that's who you're working with. Grassroots Films is a film company that came out of the St. Francis House. All the young men in the St. Francis House are the guys who made that film. They're professionals. They're high school dropouts. They have all types of emotional problems, economic problems. But you know something? Life is good. Life is good because we're Christ-centered. It's a Christ-centered home. I wanted to bring you that just so you would see who Jeffrey is and who he represents. Now, as a filmmaker, I'll be very honest with you. When I was making this film, this is at the end of the film, it's the first thing I shot. I wanted to make sure I had a really good ending. Otherwise, the film was just going to flop, you know? But I hope that resonates somewhere inside of you. The guys that were holding the cameras were from the St. Francis House. The guys who did the sound were from the St. Francis House. Everyone became important. Everyone is important. So my ministry is a ministry within a ministry. And again, it's not something that I planned. We had a young man that came to the St. Francis House who was very, very good with a camera, a video camera. I've been a photographer for more than 3/4 of my life, so I've always been in the arts. And when he showed me his work, he was very anxious to show me his work. And finally I sat down, I looked at it, and I said, it's not good. It's great. There's a very big difference here between good and great. And you are great. I said, why don't we do this? Let's get everybody in the house, the community. Why don't we do this? Why don't we make a film on the St. Francis House? Who's in? Everybody wanted to be in. And you're going to star in the film. So we did some interviews with the guys, where they came from. We got a little personal on some... we weren't afraid. See, we weren't afraid because we had each other, and we teach courage and strength and the gifts of the Holy Spirit for each young man, because that's lacking when they come to the house, and the people that you're working with. It's lacking. Ask them about the Holy Spirit. Ask them if they prayed to the Holy Spirit. Very important. So here, everybody is extremely busy. I've got a gaffer, I've got a writer, I've got a director, I've got an executive producer. Oh no, that's me. We've got everybody that we need to make this. And we had some friends over at EWTN. They allowed me to show it. The film came out excellent. We survive on donations. I got back a week later. I had 25 pounds of mail with checks in it lots of checks in it. I said we had a film company. From that moment, and I said to Father Benedict, I said, here, listen, I got a lot of money here. I said, what do you want to do with it? He said, what do you want to do with it? I said, well, I've been looking at some cameras, and we've got a film company here. These guys are good. Now, Jeffrey that you saw, and Cliff, his brother, who were meeting their dad, before they came to the St. Francis house, they were both male models. So I thought they would be great on camera, but I don't allow male models in my house. That's for sure, because you got to clean the toilet like the next guy, And so I told them when they moved in, I said, listen, if you want to move in, you can, but you got to call up your agent, tell your agent, throw away my phone number. I am no longer a male model, because I know what goes on in those things, and you do too. And thank God these guys weren't hurt, but they weren't in there long enough. But they were, Cliff, the older one, was traveling to Europe and modeling underwear. He showed me a picture of him in his underwear. He goes, what do you think of this? I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. He goes, what, are you kidding me? Do you know what I got paid for that? I said, you're a prostitute. His face dropped. He said, what? I said, you're causing other people to sin. That's a sin. You're causing other people to sin. I said, and you know what? You're responsible for those sins of those other people. Did you know that? I was really upset. And he goes, no, I didn't know that. I said, well, now you know it. What are you going to do about it? You offend God. I'm offended. Everybody's offended but you and the people you're looking at. You're doing something wrong, very wrong. And I'm telling you, if you want to live in this house, you are no longer a male model. I never want to see you in your drawers again. And believe it or not, he called up that day. I was surprised because he had to make a decision. He was 18 years old. He had to make a decision. It was one or the other, but it wasn't going to be both. And I wasn't feeling sorry for him. Oh, you have no place to live? No. You have a place to live. Everything's going to be given to you for the next couple of years, but you can't do that. And he did it. And he's the guy who edited Outcasts. He works for the company full-time. He's married, has 2 beautiful children. He's working on his wife to become Catholic. She's a wonderful person. Actually, when he brought her, Cliff used to bring different girls around all the time, and they used to say, look, is it okay if I bring my girl for dinner? I'm like, I insist on it. Absolutely. Bring her, of course. And every girl that he brought over, I was like, oh my God, this guy has no concept. And so I told him, we had a big party one time, I said, you're going to have to tell her to leave or put some clothes on, one or the other. This is what it comes down to, Anyway, when he meets Chelsea for the first time, she gets me in the kitchen because we have a big dinner when you bring your girlfriend over. And she goes, Joe, I really like him. What do you think? And I could see that, wow, she was the one, And so Cliff comes in like 20 minutes later and he goes, Joe, what do you think? I said, you screw this one up and I'm going to wring your neck. They're married, 2 beautiful children. Again, he's an editor. He's a director. And again, it came through the ministry. It came through the ministry. We have another young man who came to the house who was Jewish. And so we say grace before every meal. And so after John being there for, I guess it was about 18 months, we said, okay, we're going to say grace. Everybody gets a chance to say grace. And so John's sitting to my left, and he makes the sign of the cross. I went, stop. Can you start again, please? Start again. And John makes the sign of the cross again. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I want to be Catholic. I said, really? Why? I've been watching you. I've been watching all the other guys. He said, look, I think I saved the best for last. He was 21 years old. I want to go in the service. And before I go into service, I want to be Catholic. John's a Catholic today, married a Catholic woman, baptizing his children. He's got 3 kids today. But again, it's through the power of example, if you will. Understanding, love. And this is what they understand. This is what they're looking for. This is what they know. But the people that you're really dealing with are the Jeffreys of the world. And so the statistics and everything are extremely important. We need them. We need to know where things are really, really at. But at the same time, it's that one person in front of you at that moment that God put there. Then God put you there. So again, they have taught me so much over the years. You know, we were walking down Manhattan Avenue, where we live, and a couple of the guys said, "Can we go to McDonald's?" Not my favorite place. And I said, "No, we're not going to McDonald's, that's out," you know. And they knew if they asked me enough, eventually I would break down, which I did. But before we get to McDonald's, there's a homeless guy, Tommy, right across the street. I said, "Guys, before we go into McDonald's, let's see if Tommy needs anything." I go over there and I said, "Tommy," I said, "are you hungry?" And he goes, like that. I go, "Okay." I said, "Listen, if you'd like, I'll get you that ham sandwich that you like with the mayonnaise on it." And he gives me the finger, right? I took that as a yes. I said, "Okay, I'll be right back." And so Matthew, who's with me, one of the boys at the house, goes, "Joe, why are you letting this guy abuse you like that?" I said, he's angry. Not angry at me, he's angry at the whole world. I said, he's not angry at me. Who knows, maybe he has a reason to be angry. I said, "Tommy, you better be here when I get back. Last time I had to bring that sandwich home and I couldn't do anything with it because I don't eat mayonnaise." I said, "So be here when I get back." And he goes, "And don't forget the coffee." So Matt's like, "Joe, I really don't think you should, you know, Matt's going to protect me. I don't need protection, you know." But Matthew was trying to be nice. "Don't let this guy abuse you like this. This is wrong." And Matthew was abused, so he understands abuse. I said, "I don't take it personal. Don't worry about it." I come back. I said, "Tommy, I got you the sandwich." And I give him the sandwich. He goes, "Did you get the coffee?" I go, "And I got you the coffee just the way you like it. There you go, pal." I was kind of feeling all holy at the time. And I said, "Hey, Tommy, did you pray today?" And he goes, "How do you think I got the sandwich?" True story. I said, "Matthew, keep your mouth shut." You know? And I did say to Matt, "Hey, Matt, we're rich." He goes, "How could you say that we're rich? We're actually poor." I said, "We can go into McDonald's right now and order anything we want today. I don't know about tomorrow, but today we can do that. We're rich. He can't order anything. And I want you to have compassion on him, or you're not a Christian. I know what's happened to you. I know your past. We're not talking about you, because, you know, we live in a narcissistic, self-centered, you know. And so these boys, of course, when they come in, you know, they have that attitude, but for them, I really feel it's survival tactics. But now that things are being provided for you in a way that, you know, you don't have to worry about somebody hurting you, or you don't have to worry about where your next meal is going to come from, or, you know, a fight's not going to break out and, you know, you're going to get beat up over nothing, you know. And so being these things are being provided from you, you know, you should provide things for other people, because this is how God works. This is how God works. You know, one time we had some stuff in our pantry that was in there, and I mentioned this earlier to you, like, I think like 6 months, you know, there's like, I said, "Guys, get rid of it." Don't get rid of it. Just get rid of it. It's been there for 6 months. Nobody ate it. It's going to be there in another 6 months. Give it to the St. Anthony's. They got a shelter. Give it to St. Anthony's. They were concerned about not having food when I was taking it away from them. But when it was there, no one wanted to eat it. It doesn't work that way. Get rid of it. Would you believe a day later, a guy that I haven't seen in years shows up in his brand new car and brings like 30 pounds of steaks, Coca-Cola, potato chips, things we never buy. And the guys just looked at me. I said, "This is how God works." "Joe, did you call him?" I said, "You heard the conversation. I haven't spoken to him in years. He was inspired somehow, some way to do this. We're going to accept it. We're going to thank him. We're going to cook the steaks, and we're going to have a party tonight," you know? And we did. We lived. We lived. But you got to move things. You know, everything just can't stay the same all the time, you know? And I teach these guys, you know, you got to have courage. Be strong. Take a risk. Take a chance. The worst that can happen is you fail. Listen, I never learned anything from success personally. I learned everything from my failures. I'm hoping that I don't fail, though, at the same time, you know? But I've learned from them. And I've apologized to young men in the house. You know, I'm as vulnerable, you're as vulnerable as they are in a lot of cases, in a lot of situations, you know? In our films, at Grassroots Films, when you see things, okay, it's what you would see behind the scenes. And I'm able to do that because our whole lives are behind the scenes. Everything is behind the scenes. No, we have to be transparent. We are who we are. We are who God made us to be. We are nothing else but that. So live it. And we live it to the best of our ability. You know, unfortunately, a few months ago, one of our boys, he actually calls me grandpa because I raised his father. And I like it, to be honest with you. Anyway, in Brooklyn now, you can rent the car for $100 for 24 hours. So they get 4 guys together, $25 each, and they ride around all night. They're good kids. They're good. There's no drugs in our house, no alcohol. These things don't exist. And besides, like I said earlier, they don't do that because their parents did it. Unfortunately, I'm at Mass and I get a phone call. Then I get another phone call. Then I get 3 text messages. This is important. I go outside. I was at the Vigil Mass. I go outside, and there's Kevin. Call me immediately. Please, please, please. I call Kevin. Where are you? We're in an ambulance. I said, what happened? We just hit a kid. No, we just hit a person. I said, what? We rented a car, and we hit somebody. I said, well, how old was the guy? I don't know, maybe 30 years old. Where are you? We're in the ambulance. Can you meet us at the hospital? What hospital are you going to? They told me. I got there. I saw both my boys are sitting there, and they're crying. And there was a cop outside. And when I saw the cop outside, these guys were being held. They didn't even know it. I went outside. I said to the officer, I said, what happened to the man? Did he have children? Did anything happen bad? He said, man, he goes, the kid was 14 years old. He died. I said, oh, no. I never felt myself well up so fast. You know, it even took me by surprise, you know. And the boys didn't know it yet. The cop told me, we haven't told them yet because they're in shock. So I go inside. I said, Joseph, are you okay? Kevin, no, we're not okay. What happened to the man? I said, the man was a boy and he died. Just like that. There's no getting around this. There's no easy way of telling anyone that someone died, you know. The police come in, they do a whole interrogation. I'm not leaving. Just, you know, I said that to the officer because he was trying to, you know, he told them that they were high, they smelled pot, they did this, they did that. I said, boys, were you? No. I said, listen, everybody makes mistakes in life. Is this the time you blew it? Because if it is, I need to know now. Because if it is, you're going to jail tonight. And I need to know that because I got to get you out tomorrow. Tell me, was anybody high? Did anybody drink? We did not do that. 99.9% I believe them. I believe them. They never lied to me before. This could be the one time, you know. They get tested, they're clean, everything. We get the boys home. It's a terrible situation. It's right before Christmas. It was a somber Christmas in our house. It's something we had to go through together. Again, they didn't go through it alone. But here's the message in the story. I said to Kevin, who was sitting in the front seat, I said, Kevin, you know, after a week had passed, I said, you know, Kevin, I said, this poor guy, you know. And the first thing the boys said to me, actually, after the accident, we got to go to confession. The first thing they said to me. I don't want to leave that part out. I said, okay, let's go. They said, tomorrow. I said, tomorrow's too late. We have to go now. I know a few priests in the neighborhood. So, of course, you know, the boys said what they had to say. But I had said to Kevin, I said, Kevin, you know, this poor little boy, you know, 14 years old, the girl he was supposed to meet, he's not going to marry her, you know. And the children he was supposed to have, he's not going to have those children. And his children are not going to have those children. And his children are not going to have those children. And you know where I'm going, Kevin? He goes, yeah. He goes, it's a shame. I said, this is why abortion is so bad. Now, Kevin was an abortion advocate. He said, Joe, I get it. I get it. I said, this is what it took for you to get it? Do you understand how important life is? Do you understand how important your life is? How your brother and your mother and your father and the children you're going to have. Do you know how important you are? It took a terrible tragedy like this for him to understand this. But I have to be, straight with you that I did not beat around the bush, We did not beat around the bush. This is what happened. This is a terrible thing. It was an accident. This is what we had to get over. It was an accident. It was proven an accident. Joseph didn't go through the light. The boy hit him on a motorbike. They didn't see it till it was already over, actually. It was a terrible thing. But you know what saved them through this, really? It was their Catholic faith. If these guys were not living in the St. Francis house, if they weren't on drugs, they'd be on drugs now, because drugs work. Medication works. And that's why people take it, because it works. That's the answer I usually give people. That's why people get high, because they have to get rid of whatever that problem is, So I'm going to show you another clip. This wasn't supposed to go this way about death, but I think for some reason the Holy Spirit's working with this. There's a scene in a film that we did, a film called Fishers of Men, that was commissioned by the USCCB. And actually, when I told the bishops my idea, they turned me down. Sorry, guys, but you probably weren't there. But they didn't like the idea. But I got my way, thank God. They trusted me with it. And there's an accident scene in here where a person dies. But if we could just play that, maybe I'll speak after that a little bit.
What a person goes through in a lifetime, we can go through in a day. Because at one moment, you need to be rejoicing with the couple you're wedding. Another moment, you have to have that joy of bringing this child to baptism. At the next moment, you have to be preparing the soul for death.
That's okay.
Emergency, what is your location?
I'm on Route 135. There's been an accident. We're on the southbound side near exit 16. There's a kid lying in the road. He's got blood on his head. He's not moving very much. He only looks like he's like a 17. Please, you gotta hurry, okay? Hurry.
Hi, Matthew. Hi, my name is Father James. Can you hear me?
Priest who brings the soul home to God.
May the blessing of Almighty God, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit come upon you and remain with you forever. Amen. Matthew, your sins are forgiven. Matthew.
That was inspired by a true story where a young man had got thrown out of his car, and if you notice, that was Jeffrey, who from the other film, The Human Experience. See, the boys are involved in everything that we do. Matthew is also one of our boys. He came to us when he was a very young age. But our jobs are to our vocation is to get them to heaven, or get them to the priest, so the priest can get them to heaven, basically, So everything that we're doing in our ministry, in my mind, am I helping this young person get to heaven? Because if I'm not, I'm doing my will, not God's will. So I think we have time maybe for a few questions, if anyone would like to ask a few questions at this time. If not, I'll just be standing here for a few minutes by myself. Well, thank you.